Happy Friday and welcome to today's episode of Friday Tech Bites. Kirsten, you came back. You didn't leave me hanging after last week, so it must not have been that bad. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for the weekend, TGIF. Just another Friday on LinkedIn Live. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Oh, that's a fair shout. I appreciate that. Kirsten and I are both in Central Ohio, and we're joined by our 1 week after birthday boy producer in Atlanta and our other producer in Romania. We've already had some people on the streams. We're live on 3 platforms. Drop in your U.S. state, your country, and we're going to light up the map application. We're going to come back to this 2 times during the map. Got some Germany, got some Italy up in the mix. We had some Brazil down south, and we had some Egypt. I actually rearranged how I can see the map now. I can actually see these because I only had a little small preview pixel. We got Brazil, but let us know where you're from. Already seeing some great. Hey, Steve, another one in the OH. Welcome. Awesome. So anyways, Kirsten, let's talk stuff today. And, we thought these Friday Tech Bites were a great way to go into some of the other capabilities that aren't necessarily new, but are still rather awesome. And what's our topic here for today?
Today we're, revisiting NAS Backup and recovery. And NAS is something that Veeam, enhanced a couple years ago now, and it only just keeps getting better and better with each version that we've released. So we're going to revisit this and talk a little bit more about it and, how you can protect your file systems using Veeam.
Yeah, fair shout. And, Kirsten, I know you've done a lot like in our communities, like on Spiceworks and stuff. Do you remember before V10, we had to have this, interesting explanation of how you could do it, but it's so much easier now. So let's kind of level set definitions, NAS Backup. So this engine, to slice this in, this is Veeam Backup and Replication. A lot of people know this is that engine that backs up hypervisors. Now we added, the cloud plugins. We have, VMware, Hyper-V, Nutanix, soon Red Hat, and physical Windows, Linux, and it's a full platform, Unix as well, enterprise apps, but the file backup, NAS Backup. This is an engine that's truly scalable to massive amounts of data, petabytes. I've heard over the years, we just keep raising the ceiling. I've spoke to one organization backing up over 1 billion files with this engine. But Kirsten, you talk to a lot of customers, especially on some of those community sites over the years. What's the vibe on file backup?
It's definitely something that businesses need and want every day. I mean, you think about file systems, that's going to be, where you're storing, data from office applications. Maybe you're in, surveillance. Maybe you're storing videos, medical records, images, warehouse data, you name it. A lot of it is stored in file systems. And just like every other aspect of our data centers and our data, we want to make sure we can protect that and also make it available if something were to happen. And so it's really important to have this within Veeam, right?
Oh yeah, this is a critical data set. And I love how you hit some of those really popular types of unstructured data, like surveillance, records, data warehousing, all those types of things. It's really a very versatile engine. And so let's dive into how it works. And so I did mention this comes in Veeam Backup and Replication, and the beautiful thing is it's really simple. So, those of you who have been at Veeam a while and followed us, you've heard this phrase, it just works. Well, this is how it works. So let's start on the left, 4 types of file shares, SMB or the old school name of CIFS. File shares, that's that Windows File Networking Protocol. Then the NFS file shares, which is that Linux/Unix networking protocol for files. Then Windows file servers and Linux file servers as well. Now, you can also back those Windows and Linux up with the agent, definitely, but you could also, if they're file servers, back that up. So those are the services, the file services we're talking about. But Kirsten, how do we actually do the backup? Walk us through this flow chart.
Yeah, definitely. So like Rick mentioned, you probably see some familiar backup components. You have your backup proxy, your backup repository, your secondary repository here, the backup server, and things like that. So really, once you add in your file share into Veeam Backup and Replication, that backup proxy is going to move that data from the source to the target. And really what's probably the most like my favorite thing about this and how it moves the data is really that cache repository, right? Because that's going to help you gain fast incremental backups. Because once that proxy reads that file share, it's going to create that CRC tree. And then with each subsequent backup, that CRC tree is going to, that original one will be compared to the new one. And then that's going to let the backup proxy know, hey, this is the changed data. This is the only data that we need to move to the backup repository. So you're really going to get those fast incremental backups that we all, know and love today.
Yeah, fair shout, Kirsten. And let me kind of break a couple of different pieces of that down. That cache repository, it is money. And I'm not talking about cash money. I'm talking about it is something you can bank on. It is smart and efficient. And then the proxy is that data mover, which is a component, a construct we've had at Veeam and a lot of the different backups. And then the repositories are where we put those backups. So the first stop is a backup repository. The secondary repository allows us to have a 3-2-1 rule built right in. The archive repository is when, as it's currently implemented, it's going to change in the next version, but as it's currently implemented, after a certain threshold, if there's not been changes, it'll go to this object storage repository. Good stuff. Producers, just let me know that the map is ready. Oh, we've had a very busy map, so let's take a look. Let's start with North America. We had someone else in Ohio, and then Canada's checked in again. We've had Nebraska come in, welcome, and Mexico. So that's great. Let's go on over to Europe. We've got, let's see, Italy, Berlin, and Germany separately have checked in. Ukraine, Portugal, UK, Swiss, Albania, and Turkey. Albania might be a first on the tech show, not sure. So welcome, everyone. And then let's go down to South America. We've had, let's see, Peru. No, not Peru. How about Peru and Bolivia? Sorry about that. Brazil, and we already showed Mexico. Good North and South representation. Zambia, UAE, Egypt, Morocco, and South Africa, India, Kuwait. Oh man, Israel, Lebanon. Oh wow, it just keeps going. And then over in Asia, we got Taiwan, we got India, PNG in the house. PNG, welcome, man. What is it like? I don't even know what time it is over there right now. Papua New Guinea, the PNG. So welcome everyone. And Saudi checked in late. So drop in the map, your country. That's awesome. Or your U.S. state. That's awesome. I love lighting it up. So I appreciate everyone joining us here today. But we're talking about NAS Backup. And Kirsten, it is a big one. And you mentioned that that CRC, that change file tracking. So let me walk you through kind of a different view of that here. So let's take those flexible different file sources, those, storage protocols, SMB versions 1, 2, 3, and 4, NFS 3 and 4, 1, Windows file servers, and Linux file servers. The change file tracking engine, here's a simple view of a tree, right? These are folders with files, and they each have their own quote unquote fingerprints, right? So it's if they've been changed, and what the cache repository will do is crawl through there. And if we detect a change all the way down at the bottom, we will very efficiently have the incremental backup do the incremental backup very efficiently and just pick up the files and folders that have changed. Raul is talking about the NAS backup and scale out backup repository. Raul, remember I said it's going to change in the next version. V12 is in internal beta. Get with your SE, play with some of the things that are changing here. You're going to like what you see. That's all I can say for now. Then these file backups also are very snapshot friendly. They can very easily work through open files, locks, point-in-time recovery, offload performance. So all of this being said, Kirsten, this is pretty transparent to the end user. Now, I know you've set up some file backups in our labs and stuff like that. Do you have to think about any of this stuff, or how difficult is it?
I would just make sure, depending on how big your file system is that you're planning on backing up, that you do have the appropriate amount of proxies. You're resizing the cache repository correctly, and just making sure you're thinking a little bit more about these components, because that's really going to where you're going to get that fast backup processing, and make sure you don't hit any hiccups when you are backing up and you end with a successful backup operation.
Oh yeah, boom. Home run there, Kirsten. One thing you hit that is so important is about the sizing. So everybody should know, how do you size a proxy and the repositories and stuff. There's one resource, one URL you need to know, and that's helpcenter.veeam.com. System requirements are outlined there. You can very easily get the information you need. And I asked Kirsten how tough it is, and that's kind of a cheeky comment because you're going to put me on the hot seat here at the end of the show. Kirsten, what do we have coming at the end?
Yeah, we do have two demos coming. Well, just one demo, two demos that you can choose from. So make sure that you get your typing fingers ready, because we're going to have you vote for number one or number two. So you can either see how to back up, or you can see how to restore. So keep those in mind as we, continue through our presentation here, and be ready.
Yep, that's right. You'll drop in a one or a two to kind of choose our own adventure. And speaking of one, Martin just said SMB V1 is supported. Isn't that a security issue? Hey, I can't help you there. This is the backup. My angle here is I have this conversation a lot where it's like, I got these really old systems, I still need to protect them. If it's supported at an infrastructure level, we usually can provide a backup. Martin, yeah, definitely. You should keep in mind that Veeam is actually a very good way to move to a new file server. So let's talk about recovery here. Entire file share, point in time, or file level recovery. So make no mistake, guys, you can very easily use this NAS Backup engine as a migration tool. So Martin, if it is bad, you can use Veeam to migrate to a new file share very easily. Good stuff. So that was a perfect segue into the recovery use cases. One of the newer things that came was the instant file share publish, which is the latest high-speed recovery technique from Veeam. People know us for instant VM recovery. Well, instant file share publish, and this technology is going to be enhanced in V12 as well. Restore to a new file share. To the scenario that Martin brought up, really good one here. Imagine a complete device failure, right? The restore to a new file share is a way to do that, as well as the top ones, right? Daily disasters. I lost a file, or the whole thing got chewed up by ransomware. That is really cool to have these types of recovery use cases. Anything you want to add to that, Kirsten?
I think that you covered it. And what's great about Veeam too is that we do provide you with multiple restore scenarios for your backups. One of the ones I always like to see is the file share quick rollback to a point in time, only being able to restore those changed files. It's just really powerful, especially if you only have a couple changed files, or something happened, some data got corrupted. Just being able to roll back to that, it's fast, and you can get that data back in no time.
Yeah, fair shout. That one is cool. That is probably one of my favorite ones, because sometimes, especially with file share data, massive troves of data, you don't know where the problem is. You don't know what broke. You know it's broken, but you don't know what is broken, that type of thing. These types of recovery scenarios can just make it really easy for you. So before I go on the hot seat, I am required to tell everybody that the webpage has just gone live at Vmon.com. Vmon 2022. Legit, friends, this is going to be awesome. I'm every day asking Kirsten if she can take another session on this and that. We're going to have 6 different categories of experiences. The latest on V12, so the NAS backup enhancements. The latest on ransomware, Kubernetes, the public cloud, our new Salesforce backup product, and M365. Now, here's the thing. If you go to Vmon.com, save your spot. The virtual element is free. How much does that cost, Kirsten, if it's free?
It's free.
Free 99.
So $0.
That's right. It'll be free 99. And like the virtual experience will be free. And one thing I'll say is we're giving a lot of work to make the hybrid experience be just as complete as the in-person experience. And we are planning to have the event in Las Vegas in May. So good stuff, good stuff. All right. So Kirsten, everyone needs to enter 1 or 2, but what am I doing today?
Yeah, so get your votes in. So the first one is setting up a NAS backup job, always important. And then the second one is performing a NAS recovery. So which one would you rather see Rick perform for us today?
Yeah, and
I
just
know.
drop in a 1
Yeah.
or 2. We do have a little bit of a latency on the responses. What do you think they're going to pick, Kirsten?
I think that they're going to pick number 2.
You think? Well, I do see 2 LinkedIn 2s coming in.
What do you think? You think they're going to choose number 1?
I had a suspicion they're going to ask me to do the harder, and thank you, Derek. But let's go with looks like 2 is at least from my quick view on this. I'm looking at one feed there, so I think I think I'm going to be doing a recovery. So let's take a moment here, and while I do that, get set up, Kirsten. You know, what would you give as guiding principles to to Veeam jobs in general? What too quick, easy, hard?
Yeah, I would say that you have a backup wizard that's going to help lead your way through creating your backup job. There are some advanced settings and configuring that you can do, but that's going to be up to you. That's going to be up to your business and your needs. Like I mentioned, you can configure multiple backup proxies. You can, I don't know, use different accelerators to help speed up the job. So it's really nothing's harder than what do you always say? Nothing's too complicated than 7 steps of a wizard or something.
Yeah, nothing's more complicated than 7 steps of a wizard. So that'll be my first tattoo.
Either all that right, so or like something else.
Yeah, right. That's right. Let's jump in the lab here. And what I'm looking at here is a file share. So this is the Air Data file share. And I have a couple of, I make up names. By the way, if you ever need to make test names, what I like to do is take a element from the periodic table of the elements and then put a verb, right? Silicon lift, oxygen blow, niacin burn. It's cool names, right? Anyways, I'm going to go in the oxygen blow folder. And what I have in here are actually some of my PowerPoints that I've done just recently, right? So let me sort by date here. And let's take the oldest one that I did I did this one at an education event in Florida a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to open this up here, Notepad. I am going to, on this one, I'm going to, let's first of all take the hash. I'm going to take a file hash. So I'm going to take the file name and I'm going to get its hash. So hash tab is one of my favorite kind of lab tools for that. Let's go MD5. Let's copy that. Okay, so that one, the FETC one is that. I'm going to delete it. So we got to make sure it comes back healthy. Wait. Let's delete it. Yes. And then I'm working on a video for the hardened repository. I'm going to make a change. Okay. So let's take this one. Let's take its hash, file hash here. I'm going to take the hardened repository hash. And then I'm also going to take its file name, credentials. And I'm going to take the hardened repository name. And I'm going to put this in there. So I've got the two file names and then their hashes, okay? So on the hardened repository one, what I'm going to do is let's enable editing, and let's just delete stuff, right? Not delete the actual file, but let's delete the parts that matter, right? So whatever this one was going to be is now very different, and you'll see that the time and date have changed. All right. So what I want to do is go into Veeam backup and replication here. And where did it go? Here it is. Now, one of the things I like to do, I don't know if you caught that, Kirsten, I do that sort by type, It's an easy way to sort your job types, VMware, Hyper-V, whatever. And here's my file share backup. You can see I'm doing that Air Data file share. So this is that one. I don't have a lot of change rate in here. I'll disclose that, but I'm going to go ahead and restore it. So, okay. every time I click something, Kirsten, I want you to count. Can you do that for me?
Yeah. So
All right.
would this be considered number one click?
Oh, okay. Oh, that's debatable. So let's start with. All right. So I say click, you say one. Click,
One,
click,
two.
two. All right. Now, you saw what I did. I deleted one file and I changed one file. And let's suppose I didn't write down hashes and file names. What would be the easiest way to do it?
I would say the rollback.
It's funny. It was selected. Did I hover over that to make that? But yeah, that's the one I would do. All right. Click.
So three,
All right. Click.
four,
Or, and then I'm going to find the job. The most recent one sounds like a good idea, right? Click,
five,
click,
six,
click. Oh,
seven.
well, it's debatable because it's a. I'm
I guess you
referring
got
to
to
like
change
the
your
tree.
tattoo.
Oh boy, I have to change it. All right, so let's let this load here, and yeah, so it found that slot, it found that share, that backup. Now, I'm not going to click because that would incur more clicks. But if I did click, I could go back. If I'm dealing with this Monday and it ran 2 days over the weekend, right? I could kind of roll back of sorts, right? I could do that. But let's just click,
Eight,
click.
nine.
All right. So it's academic on if all of those counted as clicks. But what's happening here is it's going to launch that restore job. So the details, what changed, and this is not a huge file share, but imagine something with millions and millions of files. It could be a little bit more significant. So the descriptor here of what happens is pretty straightforward. The proxies are going to be assigned, the target, the repository has been identified, the components know what to do. Oh, it's already done. Boom. So interestingly, something else must have changed, by the way. It might be like the index file of that folder. So it did 3 files across everything, right? So it did all of its work. So let's go in and check. Now, in here, let's see if I can align this right. Right off the bat, I can see that the FETC file is back, and that's good. Now it has it. That was the oldest one, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to compare the hash. Let's do it. Copy the hash, property, and then go to file hashes. And we have a match. So this is that one. It's great. Cools. Now, hardened repository, there's 2 things I want to check. I want to make sure that that second page is happiness, which it is. I'm going to exit that. And I don't think it'll change it just by opening it. You got to watch that autosave with OneDrive, by the way. Anyways, and let's go to Hashtown here and look at that. We have a match as well. By the way, this little cool tool, Hashtab, it natively will pull them out of your copy buffer if they match. So that was cool stuff. And you can see that the restore went just fine in the log here. And I'm a happy camper. Any comments to add to that, Kirsten?
No, that was amazing.
Amazing.
An awesome data, awesome demo.
Well, the one thing I want to highlight here is that was pretty quick. Okay. Think about that. That's actually really quick with my 8 clicks or so, which is debatable on if it's actually 8. But the reality is, I think it's important to know that once you identify the changes in a NAS file share, that rollback to a point in time is just really, really cool. So ease of use really, really high. I did step away from the thing. Whoa. Do we have a map that's ready? We did have 31 hit on the map, which is a very high number. So I really appreciate that from everyone. I'm supposed to go back to the map one more time. No map update. That's okay because you broke it. You guys broke the map application. I'm really happy about that. All right. So, Kirsten, as we wrap up here, a couple of things I want to highlight. One, the Monday show I shouldn't call it the Monday show. It's the Industry Insights show with Jason and Dave is going to go to episode 81. And they're reading out the Data Protection Research 2022, Part 2 of 4, Enterprise and Hybrid Cloud. Kirsten, have you seen some of the highlights of the DPR, that Data Protection Research?
Just a little bit. Dave's talked to me about some of the statistics there. And it's always important to know, kind of where data protection is going, what trends we're seeing, and use that to, get better knowledge, right?
Oh, absolutely. I like to call myself more of the practicing IT professional persuasion, but I love seeing this research read out. It's really, really good. You can go already on YouTube on the playlist of the Industry Insights and watch part 1, but join us on Monday for the noon show. It's great stuff. And then next week, I got the show off my hook. So I'm not gonna be taking the day off, but I don't have to do the show. But Corinne on the product strategy team and Chris Spencer from our product marketing team, we're going to talk about the latest on the Veeam Universal License. So there are a lot of questions there. We felt the Tech Bytes show was a good vehicle to bring some updates to the market. So Kirsten, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I kind of asked you to be here. I mean, kind of your boss's
You
boss.
voluntold me.
Voluntold, yes. Awesome. And then Ramsey asked about RDMs. Best answer there, Razi, is just do the Veeam agent. And then the other comment I have is a big thank you to Mark, our producer in Atlanta, and to Katie, our producer in Romania. That concludes today's show. Have a great weekend, everyone.